It's time for NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. The latest from around the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington with Steve Hare, Cody Johnson, and sports with Eric Granstrom.
Good evening and welcome to our Monday edition of the NCW Life News. I'm Steve Hare. A few of the stories we're following for you tonight. Search and rescue crews continued their search for the body of a missing Mercer Island man in Chelan County's backcountry. Firefighters rallied to the first major wildland fire of the season. Also an accident near Soap Lake takes the life of a Coulee City man. And we'll also have an update for you on Snoqualmie Pass, construction work, some of the delays you can expect this week. Coming up later, Eric Granstrom with sports, and of course Dan Kuntz with our weather forecast. First, our top story today. A search resumed this morning for a Mercer Island man who's believed to have been killed Saturday in a glycating accident in the Enchantments. Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett says the 19-year-old victim disappeared into a snow hole while sliding with a friend down a snowfield in the area between Colchuck Peak and Dragon Tail Mountain. Now, the sheriff said efforts to find the man were unsuccessful. Search was called off last night due to darkness. Glycating involves descending a steep slope in a controlled slide using an ice axe for a brake. Now, the sheriff described it as a high-risk activity due to the unforeseen dangers such as snow holes and crevasses in the snow path.
I think one of the biggest things here is that anybody can be up there and just not understand the potential of what could be in store for you in those hiking and glyciting situations. And one is that they're ever-changing conditions from the weather going from warm to cold as things melt and things open up. Waterways are running and changing. You just don't know. And unless you have hiked that area specifically or had somebody come down, you just don't know. And then again, you get on a fairly big glacier field and potentially that can open up and maybe you take just a little bit of a veer off turn to here, and that's a different route that somebody else take. And again, a tragic event. We hate to see it happen. And we hope for the best for recovery, but unfortunately, it looks like it's a bad situation there as the victim goes.
Now, Burnett confirmed that the search area of that lost glycator is very close to an area where a Chinese student from the University of Washington died in a similar accident last year. Sheriff says it took 2 weeks after that incident before the body was recovered. The name of the most recent victim, though, has been withheld pending his family's notification. Well, the first major wildland fire of the season rallied firefighters to the Vantage area Sunday evening. Grant County officials say sparks from someone's barbecue were fanned by gusty winds into the surrounding sage and grass, threatened a nearby campground. And as you can see, it closed down Interstate 90 for a couple of hours with backups over 5 miles long. That lasted for a couple of hours last night. Meanwhile, level 2 evacuations were issued for the old Vantage Highway campground, also some neighboring homes, but luckily no structures were damaged. Fire was contained around 8 p.m. Interstate has since reopened. Meanwhile, a Coulee City man was killed Friday when he crashed his SUV on State Route 17 just north of Soap Lake. State troopers identified the victim as 62-year-old Michael Burns, apparently southbound when his vehicle left the roadway and plunged over an embankment. Burns was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, the cause of the crash was still under investigation. Well, again, you can expect big delays with planned road construction work now in full swing on I-90 between North Bend and Ellensburg as your tax dollars make repairs to several bridge decks, replace deteriorating sections of concrete pavement, building new lanes and bridges. The DOT said this week you'll run into several construction zones that will detour you around the work, but will cause you some delays during that travel between Seattle and this area. Hey, coming up, we'll have your highlights from commencement ceremonies last week. An event tonight at the New America Performing Arts Center will honor a beloved community member, and saturated ground in Okanagan County causes an earth collapse. I'm Steve Hare. This is NCW Life News.
Stay up to date with what's happening in North Central Washington. Go to the NCW Life Community Calendar at ncwlife.com.
Welcome back to NCW Life News. Hey, graduating seniors at Wenatchee High and Eastmont High Schools honored two prominent figures as their distinguished alumni during ceremonies on Friday. Wenatchee's class of 2017 selected the school's former athletic director and coach and current Dean of Students, B.J. Kuntz, who addressed the Apple Bowl crowd.
This is really a great honor for me, and a couple of reasons. One of them, since I've become the Dean of Students, I have gotten to spend a lot of time with students in the class of 2017. And I feel like you guys as a group have really helped me learn to be a better administrator. And so many of you have shared your struggles and your stories with me over the years that you have helped me understand really what it means to be in high school 30 years after I was in high school. And things have changed a little bit. So I really appreciate how much you have done to help me be better, and you're going to help the students that come behind you be better as well. The second reason this is very special, as Marcus already shared, when I was wearing my cap and gown 30 years ago, it was my dad that was the distinguished alumni. So I appreciate the opportunity to do that with my daughter graduating. So thank you again for that. I want to share briefly to you a few perspectives from my job that I do right now, specifically about many of the students here that are graduating that have faced tremendous barriers. And you know who I'm talking about. Students who have had to use considerable persistence, grit, determination, stay-with-itness, and plain old everyday survival to get to the finish line today. Many of those relationships started as me calling you to my office. It was usually absences, tardies, and of course the conversation about the unexcused absence, which you really weren't absent because you were just late and the teacher marked you absent and didn't fix it. So thank goodness that conversation is water under the bridge now. It could have been about grades, it could have been about credits, or that darn cell phone. It's always hard to know what brought you to my office. But the part I loved is how those conversations almost always ended. As the relationships built and as I got to know you and you got to know me, we began to discuss what are the barriers and why is it you came to see me in the first place.
And again, that's Wenatchee's distinguished alumni, B.J. Kuntz, who joins her brother Frank, mayor of Wenatchee, as a former distinguished alumni. Eastmont High School's distinguished alumni this year was Dr. Christy McKinney. Well, the community gathers tonight to honor local singer, educator, and concert producer Leslie McEwen at the American Performing Arts Center in Wenatchee. Matt Cadman, the executive director of the theater, stopped by Street Talk and other stuff with Mike Magnotti to talk more about that event.
We have a very special evening at the America PAC. Tonight at 6 o'clock, we're having an all-city celebration of life for the one and only Leslie McEwen, who passed about a month ago now, and had an indelible mark on so many aspects of the arts here in the community. Incredible singer, incredible voice teacher, wonderful colleague. So there's only about 30,000 people who want to come see her. That's the kind of impact she has. So tonight at 6 o'clock, come on down to the PAC and be part of this wonderful concert. There are 15 separate acts. Wow. All of whom are related to Leslie, either students or colleagues or people she taught. And we're going to have a couple of awards. There's a slideshow. It's all free. We just want to really celebrate the life of this incredible person.
Okay, so the Performing Arts Center, 6 o'clock, did you say?
6 o'clock. There will be about probably an hour and a half worth of music. And one of those things where it's just a feel-good evening. Not a wake or a eulogy. It's more of a celebration. Great. So come on down and help us celebrate Leslie's life.
And again, that's Matt Cadman with Mike Magnotti on Street Talk and other stuff that you can watch on NCW Life News. Also today, Okanagan County emergency management officials say it only took minutes for a large amount of saturated earth to disappear in the Twisp area last week. Agency Director Maurice Goodall says it happened when the ground collapsed on private property along Chillowist Road. Now, he said the resident said he never heard or felt anything, but as he was looking out his kitchen window, noticed what appeared to be a shadow over the ground. Looking closer, he says he found a section of his road missing with water lines and power conduit hanging in the air.
Just like a blister, it just wiped right off. A great big old ravine just washed out. And it took this guy's road out, and then it went down, and then it took another guy's road out. It came onto our county road for a little bit, but by the time it washed out the guy's driveway, then it actually took the normal channel down, and it wasn't a flash flood. It wasn't because of the storm last night. This happened. This is Wednesday, Tuesday. It happened Monday.
Goodall cautions that in some areas it might appear the ground is starting to dry out on the surface, but he said there are still areas throughout the county that are heavily saturated. You're watching NCW Life News. Coming up next, we have Eric Grandstrom with sports. Our feature today showcases the graduating class from Wenatchee High School as they walk through Mission View Elementary.
Get the fastest internet available in North Central Washington by switching to LocalTel and get speeds up to 1,000 meg. Call 888-8888 today or go online to localtel.net.
Now it's a Sports 8 on the NCW Life channel.
And a happy Monday. Hundreds of swimmers took part in the annual Apple Capital Swim Meet last weekend at Wenatchee's City Pool. NCW Life Channel's Gabe Mercer has the story.
Swimmers from all over the area kicked off summer with a splash this past weekend at the annual Apple Capital Swim Meet. The meet, which has been a long-standing tradition in the area since the late 1960s, is hosted by Wenatchee's own Velocity Swimming. The swim club's coach, John Pringle, said he began attending the event back when he was just a swimmer himself.
The volunteer hours that it takes to put this meet on it's incredible. The planning that it takes is immense. But once it gets going, everything flows pretty well. So just overall, just being able to keep it going for our valley is the main thing for us.
Pioneer Park welcomed over 830 swimmers from all over Washington and even Canada. Pringle said he is grateful for what the meet has brought to the valley over the years.
You know, for us, the pride of operating this meet for almost 50 years now in the valley and just keeping the tradition of having it going is a source of pride for us.
In Wenatchee, Gabe Mercer, NCW Life Sports.
Thank you much, Gabe. Great report there. Vinny Capra's walk-off single in the 12th inning helped Walla Walla sweep aside the Wenatchee Apple Sox Sunday in the season-opening series for both clubs at Burlesky Stadium. Capra's heroics came after a walk and a hit batsman by Sox reliever Steen Fredrickson. Sunday's 6-5 final followed the sweet 5-4 victory on Saturday. The Apple Sox dropped the opener of the series 4-0 on Friday. Wenatchee now travels to Victoria to begin a 3-game series with the Harbor Cats. The first WCL Player of the Week honor went to the Apple Sox outfielder Evan Johnson. The league announced Monday Johnson went 5 for 12 in the Apple Sox season opening series against Walla Walla. Clubbed 2 home runs to left field in Wenatchee's 5-4 loss on Saturday. All 4 of his RBIs came via the home run. Johnson is currently riding a 3-game hitting streak heading into Victoria. Short-handed Wenatchee Valley Rams picked up their first win of the season Saturday in Sumner. 21 players made the trip and picked up a 24-12 victory. The Rams return home this Saturday to host the Puyallup Nation Kings. Nelson Cruz slugged a 2-run homer in the first inning, and Ariel Miranda did the rest as he allowed 1 run and a complete game victory as the Mariners completed a sweep of Tampa Bay 7-1. Miranda picked up his 5th consecutive win and improved to 5-0 in his last 8 decisions. In addition to earning his first career complete game, the left-hander matched a career high with 9 strikeouts. Manager Scott Service was all smiles after Miranda's Sunday gem.
Miranda's on top of his game, and today was really fun to watch. You know, he was commanding the strike zone, really aggressive with the fastball, and enough off-speed pitches to keep him honest. And he really wanted to finish that ball game. I think in the 6th, 7th inning, Cruzy came up to Mel and said, "Hey man, he really wants to finish," and I'm all in on that. I think that's great. So tip my hat to him.
The Mariners have won 7 of their past 8 games to improve to 28-30 on the season. Seattle's offense produced 7 runs on 11 hits to cap off the prolific offensive series in which the Mariners scored 28 runs in 3 games. After knocking in a career-best 7 runs Saturday, Mike Zunino kept up his good fortunes at the plate, driving in a couple more with a single with the bases loaded in the 4th inning on Sunday. He's hitting .307 since being recalled from AAA Tacoma. Also in the American League West on Sunday, it was Houston downing Texas 7-2, Minnesota over LA 3-2, and Washington over Oakland, a wild 9th inning at 11-10 the final. With sports on the NCW Life channel, I'm Eric Grandstrom. Steve, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Well, it's becoming a growing tradition throughout the United States. High school seniors inspiring younger students to stay in school and aim higher by walking through the halls of their younger classmates before their own graduation day. Our feature today, brought to us by NCW Life's J.C. Beck, showcases the 2017 Wenatchee graduates visiting students from Mission View Elementary School. And from all of us here at NCW Life Channel, we congratulate and wish the best of luck to all of our graduating seniors from North Central Washington. We'll be right back in just a moment with a recap of some of our top stories, also your weather forecast for North Central Washington.
Stay up to date with what's happening in North Central Washington. Go to the NCW Life Community Calendar at ncwlife.com.
Welcome back to our Monday edition of NCW Life News, recapping our stories for the day. A search resumed this morning for a Mercer Island man who's believed to have been killed Saturday in a glycating accident in the Enchantments. Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett said the 19-year-old victim disappeared into a snow hole while sliding with a friend down a snowfield in an area between Kolchak Peak and Dragon Tail Mountain. Sheriff says efforts to find the man were unsuccessful. That search was called off due to darkness last night. Now, glycating involves descending a steep slope in a controlled slide using an ice axe for a brake. Sheriff described it as a high-risk activity due to the unforeseen dangers, such as snow holes and crevasses that can develop in the snow path.
I think one of the biggest things here is that anybody can be up there and just not understand the potential of what could be in store for you in those hiking and glyciting situations. And one is that they're ever-changing conditions from the weather going from warm to cold as things melt and things open up. Waterways are running and changing. You just don't know. And unless you have hiked that area specifically or had somebody come down, you just don't know. And then again, you get on a fairly big glacier field and potentially that can open up and maybe you take just a little bit of a veered off turn to here and that's a different route that somebody else take. And again, a tragic event. We hate to see it happen. And we hope for the best for recovery, but unfortunately, it looks like it's a bad situation there as the victim goes.
Sheriff Burnett confirmed that search area is very close to where a Chinese student from the University of Washington died in a similar accident last year. In that case, it took them 2 weeks before they recovered the body. The name of the most recent victim is being withheld pending his family's notification. Well, the first major wildland fire of the season rallied firefighters to the Vantage area Sunday evening. Grant County officials say sparks from someone's barbecue were fanned by gusty winds into surrounding sage and grass. threatening a nearby campground, and as you can see here, closing down Interstate 90 for a couple of hours. Traffic backed up for miles in both directions. Level 2 evacuations were issued for the Old Vantage Highway campground and some neighboring homes, but luckily no structures were damaged. No one was injured. The fire was contained around 8 p.m. Interstate, though, has since reopened. A Cooley City man was killed Friday when he crashed his SUV on State Route 17 just north of Soap Lake. State troopers say 62-year-old Michael Burns was southbound when his vehicle left the roadway and plunged over an embankment. He was dead at the scene. Cause of the crash still under investigation as of Monday. Well, you can expect delays along Snoqualmie Pass this week as the construction season gets into full swing. Cody Johnson has that story for NCW Life News.
You can expect delays with planned road construction now in full swing on Interstate 90 between North Bend and Ellensburg. Crews will begin making repairs to several bridges, replacing deteriorating sections of concrete pavement, and building new lanes and bridges. Online, you can visit What's Happening on I-90 webpage for a look at travel impacts. You can also sign up for email and text message alerts on road closures and delays.
And NCW Live News continues now with our weather forecast. Here's Dan Kuntz.
Dry and warm weather will linger through the first half of the work week, and then by Wednesday we transition to unsettled and cooler weather by the end of the week. And a quick heads up, by the end of this week, sunrise will be before 5 and sunset will be after 9. Summer is knocking on the door. For tonight, mostly clear skies. Overnight low of about 53. If you liked your Monday, Tuesday is just another one, only a little bit warmer. Sunshine and a high of 84 on Tuesday, and almost no wind to speak of. Tuesday night, clear skies, 58 for the overnight low. We have sunshine and warm temperatures one more day. That would be Wednesday with a high of 88, but the high pressure ridge that's giving us the sunny, dry, and warm weather will break down Wednesday night. The clouds will roll in, could even see a raindrop or two. 62 for the overnight low Wednesday night. And then we go to unsettled weather. Lots of clouds, good chance of rain Thursday, and a high of 78. Could even see a thunderstorm on Friday. Under partly sunny skies will top off at 70. And as you can see on the screen, partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies and cool temperatures for the weekend. And that's your forecast on the NCW Life channel.
Thanks, Dan. And finally, get out your rye bread and mustard, Grandma. It's grand salami time and our video of the day.
Are you charging for this? No.
That should get your Monday off to a good start. That's going to do it for our program today. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or on our website at ncwlife.com. Please remember, if you see news happening, we'd love for you to share it with us. Email us at news@ncwlife.com. Give us a call, 888-NCW-LIFE. I'm Steve Hare. Have a good night.
This has been NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. For more news, log on to ncwlife.com. Like us on Facebook and follow NCW Life channel on Twitter.
Get the fastest internet available in North Central Washington by switching to LocalTel and get speeds up to 1,000 meg. Call 888-8888 today or go online to localtel.net.